In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of PepTalks Podcast. This is your host Pep, back with episode 17. Let's go. Today my guest is one of my close friends, one of my brothers from a long time ago, a fellow entrepreneur, owner and founder of 8ThrillAuto, Mr. Adrian Salinas. Let's go.
What's going on? What's going on, guys?
Oh yeah. Welcome to the show once again, man.
Yeah, man. Feels good to be back on here. I know we took a little trial run last time, but we had a second take.
Right? It was a good conversation, and it sucked that like everything, like all my fucking mics didn't work on that day. I was trying to do like a vlog style mic situation, but it just didn't end up planning out. But we had a good conversation. I feel like I'm excited to base it off of what we talked. We covered a lot.
Yeah, no, we did for sure, man. I'm really excited to jump into it, man.
Yeah, well, right now, I introduced, he is owner and founder of 8ThrillAuto Detailing. We got the shirts, we got all the gear. This is one of his clients' car, and it's looking great, man. How's business been going so far?
Yeah, man. Honestly, business has been good, really, really good. Luckily, I've been able to get a lot of new clients. Esteban actually was kind of one of my newer clients. Before he was driving a Ford Shelby, sold that one, ended up getting this AMG behind us. We recently just ceramic coated it last week. But things are going good, honestly. I'm, always looking to get new clients in and trying to expand the business. But so far, things are going really good, thankfully.
That's good. And right now, you're in what year? Like second year? Or you're about to make your first?
This is barely about to make the first.
Jeez.
Yeah, barely about to make the first full year.
But 8Thrill has been up and at him, like maybe not full, but full time?
Yeah, so I started up in 2020, but in 2020, it was kind of like a side hustle. So kind of like a part-time thing. But I didn't make it fully full-time until this year. It was what? Maybe like in May, honestly.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So this year was the first year I took that leap of faith and started doing it full time.
Nice. And I remember, like when you were doing it, you're probably like when you started, you were on the weekends mostly. And that's normally how it starts, right? Like you got to start somewhere and you got to make sure you can actually keep up with it.
Yeah. It started off weekends only. And then I would do like maybe one or two when I would get off of work out of my full-time job. But it was very like up and down and consistent. Like some weeks, I'd be getting one or two. I would do maybe one or two on the weekend. But yeah, it wasn't until like this year when I was like, you know what, like let me take this more serious. And when I made that jump and started it full time.
Nice. And so when you what led you to even find like the art of like detailing? Like what pushed you?
Honestly, with detailing, I used to work at Auto Bell car wash like in high school.
Nice.
So that was like
I remember that.
That was my first job ever, Auto Bell car wash. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed, like to me it's very therapeutic detailing. To me it's like, you just, put your headphones in, just get to work, start doing the detail. Once you finish, it's like you see the transformation you did of what it was before and then what it looks like after. And to me, it's just very therapeutic to see those results of the before and after of vehicles.
Yeah. And the videos when they be picking out like all the dirt, you're like, damn, they're getting it to every nook and cranny of that.
Exactly. That's how it be, honestly. But I mean, it started off like my detailing journey started with that job. And then I left that job actually. And I remember there was one day where I went to go take my 2013 Chevy Cruze to get washed. I forgot where I took it. I was like a hand wash place. But I took it to a hand wash place. And when they gave the car back to me, one, I was waiting there for like over an hour in the sun. And then two, when I got my keys back and told me my car was done, I was like, are you serious?
Nah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, is this like, this is what you guys call like a detail, like a car wash or whatever? And I remember that day very vividly. I remember I told my brother, I was like, man, like I can't believe like I just paid what like $40 to get my car clean, and like it's not even clean. So I told my brother from that day, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start just cleaning my own car, and I feel like obviously I know I could clean my car better than they can. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just clean my own car. I bought all the stuff, bought a vacuum, bought a pressure washer, bought towels, bought chemicals that I needed. And I started cleaning my own car, you know, and, you know, I was like, this isn't really that bad. Like, I feel like I could actually like do this for money. Like, I know I'm good at it. And I know there's a market out there for people who want their cars clean and detailed thoroughly and good. So, yeah, from that point on, I was like, you know what? I had already bought this stuff. I was like, you know, might as well put it to work and make some money on the side. And
Yeah.
that's where the side hustle started, where I was like, you know what? Like, I'm good at this. I just put money into this to buy the stuff. You know, might as well make the money back and make some extra side money.
Yeah, and if it wasn't even hard to make the decision on buying it because you were like, it's for, personal. I feel like when you can put like your business into a personal like perspective, you make it better because it's like you're also like kind of like aiding your needs as well. And as a consumer, because we're all consumers in a way,
Yep.
you gain that perspective like, what would I want out of a car detail? And
Exactly.
that day is what brought your ideas of like, no. To me, a detail is like this, this, and this, and this. And then I feel like you started realizing like, oh, like this is detail to everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I was able to pick it out and be like, I can do this.
Well, yeah, and I feel like a big thing for me too was making it mobile. So it's like having to take the time out of your weekend on a Saturday or Friday, you know, or even Sunday
to take it to
to take it somewhere. And you know, Saturdays are the busiest days for car washes, so your car is gonna be sitting there for what?
maybe
An
an hour,
hour, maybe 2 hours, and you're gonna be having to wait there unless you drop it off, of course. But you're gonna have to wait there. Most hand wash places or places, you know, not that comfortable. You know, you're gonna be outside. You're gonna be waiting for 2 hours. You're gonna get sweaty. You know, it might get cold. So I feel like bringing that luxury also of being mobile also is another thing that stands out. Where, you know, I bring that service to you. You could be inside your home, watching TV, doing work, you know, playing with the kids, doing whatever you need to do while your car is getting clean. You know, once you come outside, you're going to be hopping into a brand new, you know, well, not brand new, but freshly clean car.
almost damn near, bro. I've seen how you do
But
it, bro.
yeah.
That shit, even this one, they got it off the lot, man.
Yeah, nah, for sure.
And I've heard like even some of their detailing departments aren't even as thorough, like you
Oh,
said.
yeah.
And on cars like these, you definitely need to be thorough.
Yeah.
I think that's what like is your biggest sell, is that you're taking care of. These are investments sometimes to people,
Yeah.
or these are like their dreams.
A lot of times it's people's second biggest investment, you know, after their house, their car is typically their second biggest investment. So you definitely want to take care of it and protect it.
And you as a business owner, you want to be that guy that they call, huh?
Mhm.
When they think about, I need to clean this car.
Exactly.
Because right now, what services are you offering?
So right now we offer mobile detailing, of course. We offer ceramic coatings. So ceramic coatings, what we just did on this one. I'm also offering mobile tents, and then I'm also partnered up with the wrap shop over in Woodstock called Perfection Wraps. Shout out to them.
We'll put information right here.
Yeah, Perfection Wraps. Shout out to Perfection Wraps. But I partnered with them, and where we also offer paint protection film, wraps. We offer, you know, custom wraps, commercial wraps, and then they also do commercial building tent or commercial building like vinyls.
Damn.
So a lot of different things that I offer personally, and I'm also partnered with other people to offer different services. But yeah.
And right now, like let's say ceramic coat, what are you looking at? Like term wise, how long would it last?
Ceramic coatings depend really. Depends on really how long you want it to last. I have ceramic coatings that last 2 years. I put a 2 year one on this one, so 2 years, 5 years, and then there's up to 10 years.
Sheesh. It's just all the price difference.
Yeah, it's the
all comes with
price
the price
point. Yeah,
difference.
it comes down to the price point on how much, you know.
How much you want to look at spending on it. Some people don't even think about keeping a car for 10 years right
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
So that makes sense. Obviously, I would see that more for like collection cars, more like collectibles that are being kept
Yeah.
or moved around at times. That would be great.
Yeah.
And I remember we talked about this on the last time. Now you getting into it. These past years, we have seen a growth in the interest of opening a detailing business. How do you feel like the competition has been so far? Is it healthy or is it like kind of rough?
As far as competition, I say this all the time, honestly. I tell people, like other detailers, like there's cars everywhere. You
True.
know, I feel like there's more cars that need to be detailed than there is detailers. You know, I feel like that is how it is with like landscaping too. You know, it's like
Exactly.
there's so much to go around for everyone. It's just really about how hard you're willing to work to go look for it, you know? But nah, I feel like competition's good because it keeps everybody else, you know, like wanting to get better, faster, or, you know, hop onto the new thing. But I mean, I feel, for me personally, I feel like you know it's good, it's healthy competition, and there's enough for everyone to go around. You just got to go out there and get it.
Yeah, because when you look into and when you start dissecting the actual business of like the business idea, you can go so far with it because I mean detailing goes into even like you could detail planes, you could be
Mm-hmm.
detailing like buses, you could be detailing
Boats,
boats. I've seen
yeah,
that. Like
I've done boats
people are just
before.
really
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you like where you live, there's a lot right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So yeah, over in Ackworth, there's plenty of boats. But actually, the one boat I've done it was over by Lake Lanier.
See,
Yeah,
you drove all over there. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I mean, I'm mobile, so you know I'll go wherever.
And it
You
was a
know,
nice boat.
it was man, beautiful boat,
It's crazy what
beautiful
people.
boat.
Some of these are like houses on the water, huh?
Yeah, yeah. To be honest, it was a beautiful. It was like what I think like a 20-person boat. I think it was like a 20. It was a speed boat. But it was beautiful, beautiful boat.
Then, and what was that process like getting out there with all the tools and everything? You were at the marina.
No, so luckily the guy had it in his house. He had it
Oh,
at his house, and yeah, I mean he pulled it out where he keeps it stored. Pulled it out with his truck and just parked my truck right next to it and just got to work.
and
Yeah.
now fun fact: me and Adrian and actually his brother, we worked at a marketing firm for a couple months. Being in spaces like that, and you like even I could see you out about you were a managing position. You were very like very active in the way you spoke, the way you moved. You think that's very important when you're going out to represent yourself as a business?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like you gotta have that confidence. You know, it's like with anything, you have to sell yourself. You know, at a certain point, it's like your customer has to like you as well as the product. You know, because you could be the best detailer in the world or the best painter, but like if you have a bad attitude and you know they're not gonna want to go with you because they're like like the vibes just weren't there. You know.
Especially if you're like allowing them to go into your home, getting
Exactly.
near like your family.
That too. Yeah. I feel like, you know, you got to have a good attitude, you got to have confidence when you're going out there trying to get more leads or trying to even retain a customer. You know, if you're trying to retain a customer as a monthly client, you got to have that good attitude and that good communication with them. So they feel like, oh, like, yeah, I know Adrian. Oh, yeah, that's my guy. You know, that's how I want to come off to people like, yeah, that's my guy, Adrian. Like,
One more aspect that I love about your business is that it's a family business. I know that your wife
mm-hmm.
helps, and I've even seen your kids come out and help. I think that speaks a lot to especially people of family because
Yeah.
they see that.
Yeah, well, no, definitely. My wife, man,
Shout out.
shout out to the wife for sure. She has helped me so much with the business. You know, she's willing to get her hands dirty, which, you know, not a lot of wives will do,
No,
you know.
yeah,
But yeah, shout out to her. She's definitely helped me out a lot. My girls, my daughters, yeah, they've come out too.
they're good. I feel like it's a good reminder of it helps you a lot, huh?
Yeah, no, yeah, they help motivate me. They push me, you know. They push me to know that like, yeah, she's helping. My wife is helping me now, but obviously down in the future, like she's not gonna be the one getting her hands dirty. But I know that you know she's had my back from the start, and you know this is all going in a way to put her in a better position. You know where she doesn't have to get her hands dirty, where she could do other things within the business.
And like you said, like you look for the day where she doesn't. But I've actually even heard that it's very healthy for a marriage, especially in the early ages, to start something like a business or start into a hobby, get into something where they have to kind of put like the love part aside, and now we're just two people. Like we gotta,
Yeah.
can we work together? Can we
Yeah.
even communicate well? Like put
Oh yeah.
aside the feelings of like how I feel about you. Are we? And I feel like that shows you like, are we able to work? Are we able to even understand each other on the level of like, I do this, you do that, or I have an idea to do this. How do you feel about that? Like bringing ideas to each other, because some people, it's hard to even bring up ideas to even a spouse because you're afraid of what they might say. You're afraid of how they look at you after. Where I see you guys and you're very spoken to her and she to you. And I think that's great. I feel like, again, the clients will feel that. Like this guy doesn't just come because he's trying to make money to buy himself a sports car or something. Like he's here because this is like something that's going to provide for his family. And I feel like people are more driven to that as well.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
And being an entrepreneur, like could you give me like a con and like a pro? Like what's been your so far?
Let me see. A pro as an entrepreneur is really, for me, the biggest pro is, making your own schedule. One big thing for me of why I wanted to be an entrepreneur, or like why I always wanted to be a businessman, is because I've always wanted to be the man to like spend time with his kids still, and with his wife. I don't want to be just work. Even though right now kind of it is like that, because it is, it's the beginning baby steps of a business. But I know long term is like once the business is more established and set, is like I'm gonna have more free time to spend with my girls and my wife and do things, together. Whereas if I had just a full-time job, is like I can't make those, I can't make my own schedule if I'm working for someone else, a 9 to 5. I won't make it to my girls', ballet recitals. I won't make it to their soccer practice. I won't make it to, anything if I'm on a 9 to 5 schedule. So as an entrepreneur, is like I can work around my schedule and my girl's schedule and book my details accordingly and go from there.
Therefore, making a healthier like home life.
Yeah, a healthier relationship, healthier marriage, healthier relationship with my kids and everything. Yeah,
that's beautiful. With now you've seen both sides of it. A lot of entrepreneurs usually typically start at a younger age and they don't go to college. Now you attended college, both, and you've also you started your business now where it's not what you studied for, but you still have an education of some sorts. Do you believe still in today's age like college is important to be successful?
I feel like it just depends on what you're going to school for. So I went to school for business administration. I got my associates in business administration. But not really. Like, I feel like you don't need it to be successful. Like, there's so many different ways to be successful. And also success is defined in a lot of different ways.
I wanted you to say that.
Yeah, it's defined in different ways. So for me, I don't think you need to go to school to be successful. I mean, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, obviously you need school for that. So yes, like you got to go to school for those type of jobs or careers. But business, I feel like if you have the drive, if you have the knowledge, if you have the support, and you have the network of people around you, I feel like you can be successful.
I don't know if it's just the ego in me, but I feel like businessman or businesswoman, I feel like that term, it can't be taught in school. I feel like it's more of an attitude thing. Like you got to be a motherfucker to be out there on your own.
Yeah.
You're out there in your wolves. You're out there against all the elements. And like I said, businessman or businesswoman, like my mom doesn't even speak the full language. And I feel like I get my entrepreneurial spirit from them because my parents, even though they're not set businesses, maybe they don't have like a full on like company, like with an office or everything. My mother hasn't been listening to nobody by herself.
Yeah.
And that and seeing that every day, seeing her make it in a place that's not for her. My dad as well right now with the food and everything. I feel like that's the thing that I've noticed. That it just takes a certain amount of a certain amount of like you said, like courage and confidence in oneself. And I feel like that just can't be taught.
Yeah.
It's helpful. I feel like college is a tool, but I've attended a little part of college and I could not. Yeah. I'm just not that. I don't have that. That's not my strength. But that I've seen better part of every guy or every successful person in the term of like they're doing well for their family. Everything's taken care of. Mm-hmm. I would put it in that. I'm not saying that I base success off of that as well because that is a good point. I used to say like we got to see how we base success off of, but that they're doing well, maybe financially and even spiritually. Like you can see that they're just having a good time. most of them don't even go to college, and I think that's something that's stuck out to me. Like don't feel like you're held back, or like you have a disadvantage because somebody's educated. And I feel like a lot of people, especially as I could see myself when I was starting, that I was just like, who am I to think that I can do this?
Yeah.
But it's the attitude that I feel like.
It's a lot of attitude. You got to have the right mindset.
Do you feel like you had the attitude coming in, or it's something that like completely like shook you a little bit?
Yeah, no, I feel like I definitely had it when I was starting it. It's like anything from the beginning. Is like, I can do this. You have like that mentality, like I can definitely do this. I can see myself doing this, and obviously I'm gonna go for it. But I feel like through the journey is when it gets shaky. When you're in the process, is like, can I do this? Like, this is harder than I thought. Like, it's not as, sunshines and rainbows as an entrepreneur. It's like, nah, there's some ups and downs in business that like you wouldn't even have thought of, because, it's like you can't even, you just don't know because you hadn't gone through it. But I guess this is kind of going back to like the con, back to like the question is like, what's a con? The con is like the downs. Is like, there's times where it's like there's nothing coming in for you. We're like, no money coming in.
Taking the dirt, bro. Like, you're just.
Yeah, there's times where it's like you have to figure out a way, and like being creative, and like how are you gonna get jobs lined up for the week or for the next week. There's cons. I feel like that's the biggest con. It's like, how are you going to be creative, or like coming up with like how are you gonna get the next job in?
Yeah, when I feel like people go into a journey of accomplishing something, that part is, I think that's just the requirement. Like, you just gotta stick through it.
Yeah.
And everybody that I've seen, like the guys that I speak of that I feel like are up there, like in their financial gain, which was their original trajectory, like was to just provide for their family and build a better life, and that had to do with money in their situation. A lot of those guys, like, I've seen them lose a lot. Sometimes even more than like what you had at that point, or what you had gained. And I think that was always instilled in me too. Being able to see that at a young age was like, hey, the guys that are just risking it, hey, they're banking off of it, because it takes a couple of risks to really find the flow. And I feel like that flow is eternal. Once you find it, because that's what they say, like millionaires that like lose all their money, they're still millionaires today. Because why? Like, you already know how to get there. I messed up a lot, but like, it's just the getting there part is the hardest.
Yeah.
And to them, it's just like, it's just the falling, and on the 7th fall, on the 8th fall. Sometimes it's on the 30th fall. Like, you got up and now you knew it, and now you just don't fall anymore. So yeah, I can definitely agree that that's the con. When people they like seeing the part where like you're doing good, but in those parts where you just don't know, like, how am I gonna get out of this? It's very lonely.
Oh yeah, it's hard, bro. Honestly, it's hard. I'll be honest with you. That's a big con that, starting out is like, like you think like, oh no, like I'm gonna figure this out. Like, I'm not gonna get to that point. But it's like, little do you know, it's like that point can come at any second, really.
And you don't know it until you're in it.
Yeah.
And then you remember that you said that.
Yep. Exactly.
But what somebody taught me was, yes, but you've been in that situation before and you're here now. So you made it out. Just remember what it feels like to make it out, and you'll feel it. Like, you'll know that feeling. Just as you know the bad, you know the good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
people say that about business all the time. It has its ups and downs.
But they said, like, when it stays down is when you completely quit. That's when you just ended on a loss, bud. Yeah. And you'll have such a sour taste towards starting another business that it will just ruin your whole drive.
Yeah.
And I think that was what stuck to me when they were like, when you quit is the worst part. That's the worst, because you just completely let it. All you did was for nothing at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
So they were just like, just stick to it, man. Like, nobody's doing nothing better out here. People still quit every day, and they quit on stuff that like they didn't even like.
That's true. So
if you're gonna do something, you might as well do something that like you enjoy, or it gives you something more.
Yeah,
we gotta work. Everybody has to work, unless your parents are the owners of a big ass company. You're gonna have to work. It's just, what do you want to work in? I think that's the way I looked at it now. Like, I grew up like really enjoying the construction side, but that I'm like passionate about it, I started to realize that at my age now, I'm not that passionate about it.
Yeah.
But I had to. You have to do something. So I'm glad that, like you said, like you looked at something you're good at, and people enjoy being good at stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's a big thing too when choosing your business. Like you got to be one good at it. You got to know how to do it. You know, at least, I mean, I would say, master one thing first. Master that one thing first. Once you master that is then when you can start going to other avenues within that, that main thing. But yeah, I mean, for sure, definitely, detailing for me is the thing that I am passionate about. I really enjoy it. I love working on cars. I love working on cars like this. I love working on Cybertrucks.
That was
I
cool.
get to see
You get
cool
to do
cars.
cool cars.
I get to see cool things. I recently started working on Lamborghinis and stuff. So.
Really? That's been your favorite car? Or was like your favorite car so far?
Favorite car?
That you were like, this is badass.
Let me see. Yeah, probably a Lambo. I feel
That's
like for
insane.
me, Lamborghini is. I really love Lambo. I like exotic cars a lot.
You know what just came into my mind? Like you're gonna be very like savvy on like car parts now, like or like even like the details of cars. I
Yeah.
feel like that's gonna be a cool part.
No, yeah, I know. I did. Like, did you know the? I don't know. You may know this, but did you know like Cybertrucks have a cooler in the back?
No,
They have a cooler inside of the bed of the truck.
Like in
a
the back?
built-in cooler, yeah.
What the fuck?
Like,
And
literally,
it cools?
there's like yeah. Like you can lift up the back part of the back of the Tesla truck, and there's a cooler.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a good selling point too.
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah. See, like I know things that like not a lot of people know. Like I would have never known that if I didn't work on a Cybertruck.
Are custom jobs like on like leather seats and everything big right now? I know back in the day they were like huge.
What do you mean custom?
Like when people get their like initial stitched on their cars, or like they're like some people have like a kind of like a family crest or like a symbol they love, and like a lot of people with like Lambos and stuff or like expensive cars, they'll get that like stitched or
Like
ingrained
stitched
into
onto
their.
I haven't come across a lot of that, honestly.
Yeah, back in
as
the
of
day, I
right
feel like it
now.
was not.
Yeah, I haven't come across a lot of that yet, I guess.
I had another question. Do you run across a lot of pinstripers? You know the pinstripe, like how they do that line through
Like on the cars?
on the cars?
Yeah. Not right now. I haven't come. I've come across people who like want to put stripes on the car. You know. I have somebody who recently wants to do I think it was a Challenger, a Dodge Challenger. It's a plain color, but he wants to put the stripes on it. But here and there, you hear some cool, crazy things. I have somebody who wants to put like fire across the side of their car that I recently spoke to at Caffeine and Octane. But I mean, you hear a lot of crazy things that people want to do to their cars, but it's unique. It's cool that I get to be creative with them as well and do things differently that you don't typically see on cars.
Or you've done yourself too.
Yeah.
Now talking about things you haven't done, like you spoke about being at a shop. Are you also expanding your skills now?
Yeah, so I'm learning with them. So learning how to install paint protection film, learning how to install wraps and stuff like that. Like I've done big projects with them already. We recently, where were we? I forgot where we were, but we recently wrapped some box trucks
For like a company?
for a company. Yeah, and I had never done that before, but they brought me with them and they showed me the whole process. I got my hands on the box truck and was able to do things with them as well. But yeah, I'm learning. I feel like that's important too as an entrepreneur. Like you got to be willing to learn. Like as an entrepreneur, you have to know you don't know everything. You have to keep an open mind and know that there's always somebody that knows more than you, and you can always learn from other people.
I was just about to ask a question like that. And being an entrepreneur, network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
What is the hardest, or what is a good tip for like that you've used on your interactions that you could kind of give to the people when working with other entrepreneurs? Because ego is heavy when you're working with entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you recommend, especially when you're the one in seek of like knowledge?
Definitely for me, I'd say be a good student. Like be a good student, listen, and listen to what the other people you're speaking to, like other people you're networking with, are telling you, and really, pay attention. Honestly, pay attention. Be a good student, and yeah, really, really those two. Be a good student for me.
Was that difficult for you, or was it like secondhand?
Nah, for me, not really. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty quick learner. I'm pretty quick on my toes. So with the wrap shop, it's like I kind of.
Pause. I'm just kidding. Go.
I feel like for me is like, I mean, I learned quickly. So I was able to kind of, I already, and one thing too is like kind of get an idea of like what you're getting yourself into. So I kind of did my due diligence, did a little bit of research before I approached them, the wrap shop, and like told them like, hey, I want to partner with you guys. So like I kind of had a background knowledge on like how things work. I didn't know like the details of things, but it's like do your due diligence and do a little bit of research before you get into something, you know. So having a little bit of background knowledge and then just kind of observing and learning from the masters, you know, or you know the people who you're learning from.
Now I don't know if you acknowledge this, but the fact that you found somebody that's good at what you do, at what you want to be good at,
Mm-hmm.
and the way to approach them, I think that comes with being an entrepreneur. And I've noticed it where you become more of an opportunist. Like you see the opportunity, and I feel like that's a very good skill,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very hard skill to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're a big fan, but in the show The Sopranos,
Mm-hmm.
there's a part where the therapist asks him, like, how do you do that? Because he just told her about a bust that he did where he like stole something, and he was like how to do what? She's like, you are able to figure out like what something can turn into like 10 years down the road,
Mm-hmm.
with a matter of seconds of seeing it. And that stuck to me because that applies to us, like people who own businesses, where the hard times come, you have to expand sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to see an opportunity like that with people that don't interact with you, one, have no connection of all with you, like you have to find one way of interest from their viewpoint, because you already have yours. You're interested in what to
What they
learn,
do, yeah.
and to have like honestly the balls to just go up to somebody and be like, teach me what's made you great.
Yeah.
It's hard,
Yeah.
but I feel like people can sense it too. People have really good body language, or even like they can read a person. And the way that I see you speak about it, I feel like maybe they took that into consideration. They're like, this dude just wants to be a badass at this.
Yeah. No, yeah, definitely. I feel like it is a good thing to have. I feel like there is people who don't see the opportunities right in front of them. Like it could be put on a platter for certain people, and they still won't see it.
Right.
But
Do you think that's grown with the months of you doing this, or the years?
I think so. Yeah, I
Like
feel like
you weren't like that like back in the day.
um, I don't know. I don't know if I would say I was like that back in the day. I feel like now as an entrepreneur, it has pushed me to see it more, because it's like kind of back how we were saying, is like you don't know when the downtimes are gonna come. So it's like you gotta have, you know, your doors open and opportunities open in different places for you to go to those different avenues. But I feel like now entrepreneur is like I see it more. I see those opportunities. I see those doors clear.
Yeah, where before maybe they were just hidden in plain sight.
Yeah.
It's not what you need at the moment, and I feel like when you need something and it's meant for you, it'll appear. I've been a great, like I think that's been like one of my biggest thoughts is like when something doesn't go right, you're just like, maybe it just wasn't for me, you know.
Yeah.
And as cheesy as it sounds, I feel like that's what this whole game is. Sometimes, man, you're so psyched about a job or a project, and it just turns into dog shit.
Yeah.
And you gotta accept it, because you're like, this is just part of the whole thing.
It's part of the
It's sad
process.
that it did, because it could have been great, but it's just part of my story now.
Yeah.
With now, aside from like the whole like business part of it, and you mentioned it a lot, like with your family, like, is this something that you plan on like involving more of like the kids in it? Do you believe it builds a stronger family bond to like actually have the kids working in the business?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like for me is like it'll create, you know, that, how would you say it? Like I want my girls to know like things aren't always just given to you. You know, sometimes you have to work, and you got to put in the work, and you got to grind for things. But I want my girls to know, you know, like that one, I was a hard worker, you know, and I want them to see like my daddy never gave up. Like he kept going even when things were stacked against him. My dad still kept going. And I want them to see that, and I want that to be instilled in them, to know that for them is like, I can do this too. Like, even if I don't want to work for my dad, like whatever they want to do, like to keep going, to keep pushing. And it's how, like we've been saying, like, don't give up, stick through it, stay the course. So for me, it's like, I want my girls to see that as well and know that, like, if I can do it, they can do it as well.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I just heard an interview with Sebum, the bodybuilder.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about that. He talks about like they asked him what was the craziest like maybe like realization of becoming a father, and he says like along the words of, sooner or later your kids will know who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the beginning parts of their lives, like you'll be the hero. You'll have no flaws. They're gonna trust you with everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there comes a time where they grow up and they meet other people. They find the world, and then they put you in it as a father, as a person now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's happened to me, where like you look at your parents and you're like, you're just a person. Like you're literally living every day new, just like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that, like that's what's like what you speak of, like when they grow up, like they need to have like a representation of what it means to not give up.
Yep.
And I think that plays a big part into it. And I feel like that's something that's been in my head a lot. Like what am I gonna tell my kids, especially as a man? Like if I had a boy, like they need a strong role model.
Or even as a girl,
especially with girls, because like you are their first love. You're the first man that they will trust, the first man, and that's a strong responsibility. And I'm glad you look at it that way.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's scary just to think about it, and I don't know how the fuck you guys are doing it. Props to you guys, man. To me, I think about it every time I'm lazy, and I'm like, bro, like if you have kids, they gotta be able to, like, you gotta be able to show who you are. I feel like that also plays a role, and I'm not trying to overspeak. I'm not a parent, but it plays a role into like the discipline part. Like when you discipline on something, you can't seem like hypocritical. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that kind of like, I remember that happening to me with my dad when he would tell me not to do something. And in my head, I would be like, but you do it. And I don't say that as in like not trying to take responsibility, but as a kid, you're like, but it's because you're my dad and you're great. You're a good guy, right? But you're doing it too. So, and I feel like that's what's also like been stuck in my head. Like I got to change some of my habits because, and it was, and now I don't want to get too much into the family part, but I think I wanted to ask, like, is that something that like had even pushed you into being more of an entrepreneur?
I think so. Yeah, honestly, like having kids. Yeah, I think so because it's like, again, is like going back to what we were talking about earlier, is like having that time for them. For me, it was like big. Like I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be successful. I want to be a successful entrepreneur because I want to be able to have that time for my girls as well. And I knew, it's like, you can't have that with the 9 to 5. You just can't. Yeah. You can't make your own schedule. You can't go on vacation whenever you want to. I mean, yeah, your jobs give you, pay time off or whatever.
But you still got to ask for it.
You still got to ask for it. Still has to get approved and all that. Somebody else might have taken those days already, and it's like, dang, like now I can't go on this trip or whatever.
And whenever I've wanted to, like, I felt like the thought of giving up has came into my head. I do remember that when there's a coach that I was listening to, and he talks about like reaching your goal. The way to do it and the way that like it's proven is just obviously you got to work backwards. You got to set your steps on how to get there. I need that goal. You find that healthy goal that is reasonable, and obviously reality is what you make it. But it's something that could be it's tangible. Mm-hmm. You build backwards, and when you get into the 9 to 5 part, that plays up. That's a very like that's a very like tough role to switch on when you have to respond to a time. Mm-hmm. And those goals become even harder because you already set the line, but that line is being blocked by this time has to go here. Yep. And I feel like when yes, it's harder to not have something steady, but the freedom could go both ways. Yes, you could fail and completely lose everything, but you can also win everything because nobody's like in charge of your time anymore. Yeah. Nobody's getting in the way of you achieving those small steps to get to where the goal is. And I feel like that's where I always tell people, I'm like, maybe I'm not even like as good as a businessman as I should be. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I'm just happy is that I feel like I haven't wasted time. And when I was working in jobs, I feel like that was the only thing that I was like, I feel like
you feel stuck.
Yeah, I would feel like I would hate being unappreciated. I knew I was doing great things, and I was so excited to do them because I liked being good at something, and I always liked working, and I always liked, and then when I started working with people that weren't Mexican, like people that were like don't know you at all, because most of the time I worked with my parent, with my dad, or with like family, like my family friends that had businesses, and when I started working with actual like strangers, it even gave me more because they don't know who I am. So now it really is just like, who am I going to show you?
Yep.
And but that was always a thing that like there was always a stopping point. Like, hey, like we appreciate you growing and we appreciate you, being great at this. But yeah, I can't give you what you want. And you're just like, but I'm worth it. Like you just explained to yourself, like you just said it. Like that was what just fucking like that foot on your neck is what fucking just broke me.
And they can do that because in any company you're easily replaceable.
Replaceable. Jim Carrey spoke about that about his dad.
Mm-hmm.
He was like that. His dad always told him like you should find something steady. Like he wanted him to be like a lawyer or something. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I saw my father get fired from a job of 30 years and no backup plan. Yep. So
that happened to my dad.
You see,
that happened to my dad. He was at his job for probably 25 years, and I think it was around COVID. They were like, yeah, we can't keep you no more. He gave him the boot.
And he talks about that. He was like, now I got to see that you can fail at something you don't even want to do. Mm-hmm. So you might as well, like I said, you might as well do something that you enjoy and fail at it, because you're going to fail regardless. Sometimes, because and that point is not up to your control. We're here. It is. That's the scary part. That it's all up to you, Papa. Like you can win or you can sink or swim any time of day. And going back like a little bit with your kids, and back to the first question, one of the first questions, if they were to follow this entrepreneurial like life, what is something that you would kind of like give them as like a consejo, advice?
To my daughters?
To your daughters, or like to other people starting off really young, like having an idea of maybe college isn't for me. Okay, that's cool, but this is what it's gonna look like.
Let's see. For sure, the one we already talked about. Yeah, it's definitely like, stay the course. Don't give up. But number two is definitely learn how to market. Market yourself, market your business. I think marketing is, one of the biggest things in business. If you don't know how to market, then it's going to be tough for you out here. Like, you got to know how to consistently bring in new jobs. So for me, definitely you got to know how to market yourself and your business. And
I feel like that's the hardest part too, because a lot of people have that like social anxiety, and they're like, I just can't go up to somebody and just be like, hey, like let me introduce myself, and I do this and this, and then getting that pitch. I remember our sales pitch. Getting that pitch down is hard. It's right now I have to do it with the striping part of like the business, and it brought me back to those days. Like MIMS, like how am I gonna make this? How am I making sense? And like I can see where it's tough. The no's are crazy.
Yeah, I feel like us going like being door-to-door salesman really, we didn't even do it that long, honestly. That's just the
But I went through a lot. I got a gun pulled out like 6 times in that short time.
Well, yeah, we saw some things and we learned. I feel like what we learned from that one job was very, very valuable.
It was hard.
It was hard.
You know why I feel like we learned a lot? Because it was so much time there for a short time that we were there. Yeah. Like what I mean by that is like we were there Monday to Sunday, working long ass hours. You're just talking about money and growth and da. It was, I mean, to a lot of people when I tell them my time there, they're like, dude, that sounds like hell.
It was like a boot camp, bro.
You remember what he would do when you didn't sell? Bro. Like you would sit in his office, the door open,
just chew you out so bad. It was not even funny.
And I remember one time he sat us down for like 30 minutes listening to you guys celebrate, like doing with the gong, and he was like, "That's what winning sounds like." I was like, "What the fuck,
bro? It's insane." I'll never forget my time there. Honestly.
I won't. And I think, I mean, the thing about us is I feel like we took it more as like it sucked, but it really did taught us a lot. Where a lot of people were probably like traumatized, we were more like.
We learned a lesson. We learned a lesson or two from being there, but It was, yeah. I wouldn't go back to that place.
Definitely not.
But it is a good place. Not even a good place. It wasn't a good place, but you'll learn a lot if you did go through it.
Yeah, door to doors. I feel like that's like the best way to become a great salesman because you're, dude, it's annoying to walk that much in the sun, rain,
to not get no
knock,
sale, no money.
bark
Yeah.
that. I'm telling you, bro. Some lady pulled like I've gotten guns pulled on me just because like they don't, and I'm like, but lady, I have an AT&T shirt on. It's bright yellow. Like I'm not robbing your place. Everybody can see me here.
Yeah.
But now, we don't want to live in the future because you become anxious. But it's still good to manifest something. What are you looking forward to, or what something that like you're feeling is coming in maybe in the next year for 8Thrill?
Next year, hopefully expanding. For me, one thing is I want to get my wife out of the field for sure. So expanding, hopefully getting a full-time helper, for sure for 8Thrill, and expanding me personally into the knowledge of different areas of the business. So what I mean by that is like learning, the paint protection film to a T, learning the wrapping to a T, like learning how to do that and mastering those different skills as well. But definitely just growing as a company, getting people in, trying to train people, starting training the people that I bring in. Hopefully getting a location, getting somewhere established. Right now I'm just mobile. So hopefully getting my own location and having a place where I do majority of the work.
Nice. And we're also looking forward to doing you're doing wraps, you're doing the window tinting as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the tinting as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so doing all that, the wraps, definitely in shop would be the wraps, would be the paint protection film, the tent, and then definitely for me, I know a lot of people who when they open up their shops, they typically fizzle out and don't do the mobile. But I just feel like the mobile is very important too. I would have to look at the numbers and see how things would look if I still had the mobile rigs going. But I just think it's just very like, I don't know. For me, it's like me as a consumer, it's like I would be mad if my mobile detailer stopped being a mobile detailer.
Yeah, that is true.
It's like I really enjoy you coming to my home and offering me this service at a with a good quality product. So it's like I don't see myself stopping my mobile.
And then building that book is hard, and you don't want to I wouldn't like that. It's smart. It's good that you think that way. Like, don't forget where you came from either.
Yeah. Like for me, like that's what got me started. Is my bread and butter. The mobile.
And to me, it's a great idea because, like you said, like you cut that time off of somebody's time. Like I don't have to worry about it. It becomes more, and I mean, at a certain point, you realize like most of your clients, they're well off because it is a luxury.
Yeah.
But it's everybody. Terry Crews also said this, and I'm quoting so many people in it. But I've been into this. I feel like that's one more aspect of an entrepreneur. Like go out and learn from people that are doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at a lot of podcasts of people like explaining how they got to where they are because they're literally giving you all of the tips. Your path is not going to be the same as everybody else's, but you'll be surprised how most of us face some of the same things. So I think watching those things, and that's why I like watching them because it that's the way I learn. I'm not a good reader. Mm-hmm. I get distracted easily.
I hate reading too.
so I use that, but I like that he talked about it. Like it's who you, like the way that you'll basically base how much money you're gonna make is like how many people are you servicing, like how many people are you providing some type of relief to, mm-hmm. and that way you'll attack a lot more because yes, you can go to my shop and people will. I mean, people like going to a spot. Mm-hmm. People like the idea of like, well, I'm gonna get 3 things done, and you can't get that all done outside.
Yeah,
like heat will also make some.
It's
people understand it, but like you said, like people will also really appreciate
you coming to them.
And that's a smart idea, man. And I hope it comes. And if it takes a while, I wish you the best in all of this, bro. Like I think this is a great. It fits you. Yeah. It seems like it's something that you enjoy. I've seen you do a lot of different things, and this is something that just stuck. It looked like it's gonna go great. And the way that you Steph, like the family is just so much into it. It's just such a strong base. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like that's something, if I could give you anything, is like just stick the course, man. It's difficult with a family. I can't imagine how you do it. And props to you and props to everybody else who does it with the family, because it's just you're going into the unknown. Yeah. And as a father, I bet that's something that's hard. It's hard to face.
Bro. It is hard, but it's like, yeah, you gotta have that positive attitude, man. You gotta have that right mindset to know, like, we're gonna get through this. But
beautiful, man. Where can people find you?
Guys can find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So 8ThrillAuto. Just search up 8ThrillAuto on Instagram, TikTok.
We'll put it right here on the below.
Yeah. You can reach me by phone too. Give me a call, give me a text if you guys ever need a detail, ceramic coating, window tint, or a wrap. The number is 470-246-0695.
Oh yeah, man. Any closing remarks, bro? Anything you want to share to the people? And maybe some words on behalf of 8Thrill?
Words on behalf of 8Thrill. So I'm going to say my slogan.
Let's do it.
So 8Thrill, you'll be thrilled.
And it's going to be a great service, man.
Yeah, man.
Adrian Jr., I really appreciate you being on the show, man. I'm really glad we got to do it justice. The other one was great, but complete fuck up. And that's the point.
Yeah,
you gotta learn.
You gotta learn, man. You gotta do things and learn, man.
I'll put this out there. I am looking forward to do it. There will be an episode where I'm gonna be able to help Junior on the job, and we'll be able to find a way to get me in there.
We should still do what we did last time. Yeah. I think it was cool.
Like a vlog style with better mics. I'll try to get that settled, and maybe we'll just do a whole thing where I'm just there working, man. I'll be in it. And I think it'll be really, really fun. Y'all let me know if y'all want to see that too, man. We'll hurry on that one. And man, I appreciate you again for coming on the show.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me.
It's great. I love having all of my close friends on here. I love like seeing that. And I like that a lot of people are like, a lot of entrepreneurs, and that just brings me up even more, because a lot of my close friends, bro, everybody does this shit, man. I think that's strong. Like, choose your friends, choose them wisely. Like, find somebody that you can talk to. You've been somebody like that for me, and yeah, man, I appreciate it, bro. This was a good episode.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Look
forward to the next one, guys.
Hell yeah, definitely. There's gonna be more. And I'm telling you, these are guys that I see almost every week. We at least connect. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys for coming back to episode 17. We're going strong week by week. We're trying to grow this, and I'm glad to be here every day. And find something that you're passionate about. Go ahead and do it. Lose, fail, because you'll find some wins. And I hope that everybody could take something from this conversation. I appreciate you sharing what you shared, and like I said, there's gonna be more. Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of PepTalks Podcast. My name is Pep. Mr. Adrian Salinas with 8ThrillAuto. Let's go. Yeah.